All right, let's talk about something every single one of us has been dealing with, moving past those basic, clunky chatbots. You know the ones. Today, we're diving into Chapter 5 of Mastering Spring AI to figure out how we, as developers, can build some seriously sophisticated applications. Apps that can actually reason and take action, all using the power of Spring AI.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll talk about why this shift is so important in the first place. Then, we'll get right into our main control panel, the prompt. After that, we're going to level up with two really powerful techniques, chain of thought and react. And then we'll wrap up by looking at all the cool new superpowers you'll have in your developer toolkit. Okay, let's jump right in. To really get this, we first have to talk about the problem we're all trying to solve, right? And that's the massive limitations of those old-school scripted chatbots we've all had to suffer through.
And this slide just nails it. On one side, you've got the basic bots. They're like a frustrating phone menu. Press 1 for this, press 2 for that. They have zero memory, zero context, and if you ask something slightly unexpected, the whole thing just breaks. But on the other side, you have true conversational AI. This is what we're all aiming for. It creates a real dialogue, an actual conversation, and it makes the user feel like they're actually being heard.
So, what do we gain? Well, we get three incredible superpowers here. First, contextual understanding. The AI actually remembers what you said a few messages back. Huge. Second, personalization. It can tailor its responses to that specific user. And third, you get a genuinely natural interaction. And look, these aren't just little nice-to-haves. They are absolutely essential for building any modern AI app that people will actually want to use.
Okay, so how do we actually control these incredibly powerful models? How do we get them to do what we want? Well, it all starts with mastering the art of the prompt. For us developers, this is our main interface, our #1 way of telling the AI what to do.
Think of this table as our prompt engineering toolkit. It lays out 4 key strategies we can use. You've got indirect and open-ended prompts, which are all about shaping the flow of the conversation. And then you have few shot and zero shot, which are more about getting the AI to perform a specific task correctly. Let's see what these actually look like.
So this is a perfect example of an indirect prompt. See how it's not asking a direct question like, "Are you stuck?" Instead, it's making a gentle observation that just invites the user to open up. It feels way less robotic and a lot more helpful, which is exactly what you want in a support situation. Now contrast that with an open-ended prompt like this. Here, you are doing the exact opposite. You're not looking for a simple yes or no. You're practically begging for an essay. This is your go-to when you need to collect that rich, detailed feedback that you can actually use to make your product better. And this is few-shot prompting. And for developers, this is pure gold. All you're doing is giving the model 1 or 2 examples of what you want. You show it the question and answer format, and boom, you've trained it to follow that exact structure. It's an incredibly powerful way to build things like reliable FA2 bots. Now, prompting is foundational, but it's really just the beginning. What if we need our AI to tackle a problem that's actually complex? Something that requires multiple steps to solve. For that, we need to teach it how to reason. And that brings us to our first really advanced technique.
And that technique is chain of thought prompting.
The idea is so simple, but it's honestly profound. You're basically telling the AI, hey, before you give me the answer, I need you to show me your work. Just like in math class. By forcing it to think step by step, you get way more accurate results, and, just as important, you make the AI's logic transparent. You can actually see how it got to its answer.
And we make this happen by literally baking a structure like this right into our prompt template. We're not just asking it to think, we're giving it a checklist to follow. This forces the model to be way more deliberate and logical before it ever spits out that final answer.
And here's the best part for us developers. Look how simple the implementation is on the back end. Because we force the AI to label that final step, all we have to do is a simple string split. That's it. Now you can easily separate the reasoning from the conclusion. You can log the thought process for debugging or even show it to the user. Talk about building trust. Okay, this is awesome. Our AI can now reason its way through problems. But what happens when it reasons that it's missing a piece of information? What if it needs to look up a real-time stock price or check a user's order status in a database? Well, that's exactly what the React framework is for.
React stands for Reason and Act, and believe me, this is a total game changer. It basically transforms your AI from this closed box that only knows about its training data into an active agent that can interact with the world through tools you give it, like calling an API or querying a database.
So it all works in this elegant little loop. First, the model gets the user's question and generates a thought. It literally thinks to itself something like, okay,
To answer this question about their order, I need to know the shipping status.
That thought then leads directly to an action. The AI decides, okay, I'm going to use the Get Order Status tool with the order ID 12345. And then your code sees that and actually executes that tool call.
And finally, the result from that tool, maybe it's status shipped, gets fed back into the model as an observation. The model sees this new information, and the whole loop starts over again until it has everything it needs to give the user a complete and final answer.
And how do we make this magic happen? You guessed it, with another carefully crafted prompt. We are explicitly telling the AI to follow this thought, action, observation cycle. We even list the tools it's allowed to use. This structure is what gives the AI the ability to use the functions that we've exposed in our application.
All right, let's pull all of this together. We've talked about some pretty advanced stuff. So what does this actually mean for you as a Spring developer? What new capabilities do you have in your arsenal now?
Well, with Chain of Thought, you can build troubleshooters that actually walk a user through a logical diagnostic process instead of just giving them a link to a doc. And with React, your support bot can finally stop saying, sorry, I don't have access to that, and can instead go look up a user's order in real time. You can build these amazing internal tools that connect to all your company's knowledge bases. You're not just building chatbots anymore, you're building truly intelligent agents.
So, we've seen how to take our AI from a simple text generator to a system that can reason with Chain of Thought and take action with the React framework. We've literally given it the ability to think and to do. So the only question left is, with these incredible new superpowers, what are you going to build?